I'm Heather from Here Booktubes, and today is a collaboration with Katy from the channel Katy McPike, and this has been in the works since November. Katy reached out to me, we brainstormed together kind of the idea for what we would do for a video, and then life has gotten in the way, and we have now finally read our books and are doing our videos. So we both love Taylor Swift, we both loved folklore, I think we both love Evermore. I don't know how much we've talked about it. I know we talked about it coming out. I don't know what her favorite songs are though. I need to find this out. Nonetheless, so we both wore our folklore sweatshirts and we are geeking out like a couple weirdos. It's fine. So I really love Katy. We both kind of have imposter syndrome. We both love questionable alpha love interests in our books, and we like the jealous, possessive, over the top, maybe not the greatest guy, but he's obsessed with the hero. So we have a lot of similar tastes. And so it was super fun to do this video. First, I'm going to talk about the books that I picked for her, why I picked them, and then you need to go over to her channel and find out what she thought of them. I don't know what she thought of them right now. I won't find out until I see her video. So I am eager to. I am also nervous. Like, it doesn't matter if she hated them or not, but at the same time, I want to know what she thinks. First one that I picked for her is Lil Dub by Layla Frost. You guys, I'm sure, have heard me talk about this a million times, but I don't freaking care. And it worked out really well because I picked it out for her as the trope that I thought that she would like, because she likes dominant mafia-esque men and she likes age gaps and things like that. And she had already put it on her TBR from watching my videos, so it worked out really well in that sense. Lil Dub is about a 17-year-old girl who witnesses the murder of her father by the hero, and he was not aware that she was in the house, and so instead of killing her since she's a witness, he decides to keep her, and it turns into a captive-captor scenario. He still treats her really well, but they are a captive-captor for a little bit until she earns the trust that she's not going to run away. Then, when she turns 18, she finds out that he is very, very into her. We, as the reader, have both of their points of view, plus it's pretty obvious that he was into her, but he barely had any contact with her that whole year while she was 17. His staff mostly were the ones in contact with her, so she was unaware. So when she turns 18, she finds out that he wants a relationship with her, but he'll continue to provide for her, will buy her a different house if she wants, if she doesn't want to have a relationship with him. That is not a requirement in order to have nice things. He is a daddy dom, so basically he's very protective. He loves to provide for her. He will do anything that he wants for her. She does call him daddy. She actually does a Google search and they have a talk about it and what the kink is and what their interpretation of the kink is and how far they go. There is no little play in this book, and it was such a healthy, good communication couple with the age gap and the mafia-esque vibe and some romantic suspense involved and just all the things, but it was their relationship that I loved so much. Then I also, for a trope that she hates, which is reverse harem, because she's into the possessive jealous type. She wants them to not want anybody else touching their girl. So for that, I picked Resurrection, which is the first in the Sainthood Boys of Lowell High by Siobhan Davis. Now, ironically, she already read a book by Siobhan Davis and hated it. And I DNF'd the third book in this series because there was a pretty graphic rape of a side character, and it honestly just turned me off. I didn't want to continue reading. However, she does like some darker tones than I do, and this first book didn't necessarily cross the line for me, although it was wild and crazy and dark. This is a bully reverse harem, which she hates. High school with gangs, and she was a victim of kidnapping as a child and all these things, so there's quite a few things. Plus the book opens up with the death of her father. That's the very first day, the very first page, and that is her first interaction with these guys. She thinks it's a one-night stand, although it is with all four of them, and it is for the summer. She continues her training and things like that, but as she prepares to take them all down. And then when the school year starts, her high school senior year, lo and behold, they walk in and they're taking over this high school for the junior chapter of their gang. And also, he's kind of her new stepbrother and moving in. So all sorts of things are happening. But the head guy of the reverse harem, if you will, and of the junior chapter of the gang is very possessive and jealous. And I thought that she would like this for that reason. Okay, the books that she picked for me. She thought that I would like Flock, which is the Ravenhood Duet #1 by Kate Stewart. Now this says a duet, but the third book is coming out this week, I saw on Instagram, or next week or something like that. So I'm not 100% sure if that's like about a different couple or what, but I gave this book 3 stars. It was not really reverse harem, let's be honest. It was 2 guys and 1 girl, and then at the very end we meet another guy. I don't know if he's going to be a villain. I don't know if he's going to be a love interest. I don't know what exactly he's going to be. But ultimately this book is only about the 2 guys. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to like this book, because the prologue, the very beginning, the opening page is talking about how she lost them and it's 10 years later and she's driving back, and I'm just like, oh, we're not gonna be happy. I'm not gonna like this. So basically, she had a summer with these guys. She's the daughter of the richest, baddest person in town who is kind of screwing everybody over. But she doesn't know him very well. Her parents are split. He hasn't been a great dad. Yada, yada, yada. And she meets one of the guys on her first day at work in orientation. He's there too, and he takes her home to a party, and they kind of start hooking up. He kind of becomes her boyfriend. He has lots of rules, and he won't tell her the reasons for anything, which is very annoying to me. Technically, he had a reason, but I need things explained to me. Don't be all cryptic on me. You need to explain to me what you want from me, why you want it, and what we're doing, where it's going. I need information. That's why I like good communication in books. I need explanations for things. They don't get that. And also, both of the guys, so the guy that she meets on orientation is kind of nicer and sunshinier, if you will. And then there's this dark, brooding guy, but they're like 25 and 26, and she's 18. And she's the daughter of like their enemy, and they're not giving her any information. And also, she's kind of dating both of them, and one of them is like mean to her. And there just wasn't enough for me. First of all, basically, unless she was interacting with one of the guys on the page, I was really bored. I skimmed like all the parts that weren't them interacting because I was bored. And then I did kind of like their dynamic, but also it wasn't the type of healthy, I can see this lasting forever relationship that I wanted. Part of that being, it just wasn't that well done. There wasn't that great communication. They weren't being super honest with each other. But then also you are reading it the whole time knowing that, hey, this fell apart. This does end with a cliffhanger, and I still don't care enough to read the next book. So that's a bummer. Then, for the one she thought that I would hate, I am not a fan of Penelope Douglas. I feel like I'm the only romance booktuber in the world who is not a fan of Penelope Douglas. And I think that she's a good writer. I actually don't have an issue with her writing whatsoever. But the relationships between her characters, their miscommunications, their issues, their mistakes, their arguments and fights, I usually really disagree with the reasons why they're doing that. And then it's also a bit of a slow burn, and then also they just don't have good communication, and they're getting mad about all these little things, and I always just am annoyed because I'm like, you shouldn't be acting like that. Like, I'm sorry, but get over it. So I tend to disagree with the reasons why they're upset, and or just think that they're overreacting, and or think that they should get some information before they react. And so for that, I'm just not a fan. I've read Birthday Girl and I've read Bully, and I just wasn't thrilled with either of them. So now I read Punk 57. I gave this book 4 stars. It did suck me in to a certain extent, but okay, so here's what this book is about, if you don't already know. They are childhood pen pals. They've now been writing for like 7 years, and then they accidentally meet at a party. He knows who she is, but she doesn't know who he is because he hears her name and she doesn't hear his, because they kind of have unique names. Well, while he's meeting her, this is first chapter, his sister ends up dying, and he was ignoring the calls from his sister while he was talking. Now, it was a health-related death. She died like alongside the road, so I thought she was gonna get like kidnapped or raped or something like that. So I was like, you know, stealing myself, but that wasn't it. It was a health-related death. So if that would be a trigger for you, that's part of this book. It's not a huge theme of the book, to be perfectly honest with you, but that is a part of the book. So he stops writing to her, and then he shows up at her high school, again, knowing who she is, but she doesn't know who he is. And it turns out she's a mean cheerleader. And that's not who she is in her letters, but in school, she's a mean cheerleader. And, you know, pushes down people that are weaker than her and is dating a douchebag. And not only does she not go out of her way to protect those who are weaker than she is, but she will also use them as a deflection from people picking on her. So she will pick on people who are weaker than her. So not only does she not protect them, but she actually picks on them. And while I can understand being young and insecure and wanting to fit in and all of the things that she was going through, and it does a good job of not only having her have character growth, but also kind of delving into the, I hate that I'm acting this way, but I'm also scared, and how difficult that can be, especially at a young age. I just still didn't agree with what she was doing. And the author's note actually did a really good job about talking about how she wanted to write a flawed heroine, and so how we are often holding our heroines to a higher standard because we do picture ourselves in their place and we want them to be somebody that we want to aspire to be. I've talked about this before, and that's what the author's note covered, and I thought that it was a good perspective on why she wrote the character the way she did. At the same time, I just didn't agree with what she was doing, and yes, there are many things that I wish I had not done, especially as a teenager. There were times when I was mean just because I was in a bad mood, you know, and you should not be inflicting damage on somebody else just because you're not having a good day. So yes, I can understand that. At the same time, it's just like, I felt like she really took it too far in ways that I would not have gone, and that was kind of hard to like her and to be okay with that. Also, we have Misha. He's obviously lying to her about his identity, and while I cannot imagine where your head would go after the loss of a sibling, at the same time, I still didn't agree with his reasons for not communicating with her. And this is one of those books where all of the conflicts, she finds out the truth on her own. It's never him fessing up and telling her. It's always her finding out, and then he's trying to explain what was going on in his head. And I just don't love that. I don't think that sets up well for a happily ever after, even if you are super young, and yes, mistakes are going to be made. So because of that, I could not give it 5 stars. But at the same time, I did enjoy it more than I thought I was going to, already knowing that I'm not a huge fan of Penelope Douglas. Now, I know a little bit about like the Devil's Night series because it's beloved. I have no intention of reading it because, again, I'm not a super fan of Penelope Douglas's characters and conflicts and the ways that they resolve them. I think that so many of their disagreements are petty and stupid, and I just can't get on board with it. But I do believe that the characters from that series might have been in Punk 57. Let me know if that's a thing or not, but I'm pretty sure that that was there. So yeah, I liked it more than I thought I would. I think that if you have the exact same taste as me, then yeah, it's not gonna be your favorite thing ever. But obviously a lot of people love it more than I do, and I can see why they do, because it is really good writing. The sex scenes were awesome, and a lot of their banter was great, but ultimately I just didn't get on board with the decisions that they were making. So there's that. So, should Katy have imposter syndrome? Can you trust her taste? I mean, if you're subscribed to her and you're not subscribed to me, you should definitely subscribe to me, because clearly my taste is fantastic. But, you know, it's fine. It's fine. She's fine. She's fine. No, I think what we have really learned here is that you can have similar tastes to somebody, and there can be books that you both absolutely love, but it still comes down to personal taste, and it still comes down to, you know, if she's making a video, I have to pick the one that sounds good to me, not necessarily all the ones that she loved. I think that's true for everybody, and I think that it was reflected here. I definitely think that there are books that she recommends that I could have found that I would have absolutely adored, but having somebody else pick out your books for you doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to love them. So, I don't know. It was really fun. I'm glad that we did it. I really appreciate her reaching out to me. And yeah, my mood reader self read books that were picked out for me, read books that were for video. Yes, technically I had to delay the video. It's fine. I still did it. Go me. So yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.